our independence, we still find it hard to start. How long shall we be patient before we reach the promised land? Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't die. Which way, Nigeria? Which way? Which way, Nigeria? Tell me which way to go. I love my fatherland. Oh yeah. I want to know. Yes, I want to know. Which way Nigeria is heading to. Every little thing that goes wrong, we start to blame the government.
Sonny Okosu has said it all. Which way Nigeria? Of course, the program is Echo of the Past, and this is the program that brings us into the history about Nigeria. Now, when Sonny Okosu begins to sing a song like Which Way Nigeria, it simply means probably it appears Nigeria doesn't know where he is going. Particularly, and what is Nigeria? Nigeria is just a geographical location. It's the coming together of various persons. Like for instance, now in the Nigerian system, we have the Hausas, the Yorubas, and the Igbos, which are the major ethnic groups. Of course, we still have other ethnic groups as well, but like we can't start mentioning them now. We have over 200 plus ethnic groups. But of course, when a song like that begins to come out, like Which Way Nigeria, it simply means probably something is wrong in the system. And that is why we on our own part here, we've decided to bring to our understanding, to bring to our information, what makes up the entity called Nigeria in terms of religion, in terms of economy, in terms of security, even in terms of, should I say, our ethnic sentiment. These are the things that makes up the country called Nigeria. And there's one thing that is very principal about the country called Nigeria, particularly in our slogan, and the unity in diversity. How long has this unity in diversity brought or stabilized the Nigerian system? Or probably we are just trying to manage, we are just trying to patch things. But of course, that is what Echoes of the Past I decided to bring to the front burner. This is the program that goes beyond paper headlines. This is a program that goes beyond normal radio program. This is a program that has to do with fact. This is a program that looks very deep into the history of the Nigerian system. How far has we been able to unite? How far, or what has brought us together? Or should we say, probably what has brought us together is about disintegrating us. Or should I say, we were forced into the marriage of inconvenience, like historians always call it, the 1914 amalgamation by Lord Lugard. And of course, we equally look into what about the country called Nigeria. Like some people will say, which to a large extent is correct, it's for the economic benefit of the colonial leaders then. And when they left, how far has we been able to manage ourselves as a country? Putting into consideration our various ethnic diversity, putting into consideration our multi-religious settings, putting into consideration our various ways of life, in terms of culture, in terms of various beliefs. This is what we, from our own end here, particularly on the program Echo of the Past, is what we are actually looking into.
So Nigeria won't die. Which way Nigeria? Which way Nigeria? Tell me which way to go. Which way to go? I love my fatherland. Oh yeah, I want to know.
Karl Marx, in his famous quote on history, posited that men make their own history, but they do not make it as they please. They do not make it under circumstances existing already, given it transmitted from the past. Also, our Zane postulated that anything being done by men, however small, becomes part of energy. And when enough people do enough things, however small, then makes change or change to take place, which eventually becomes history. It is on this note that I welcome you to one of the most informative, educative, and analytical programs of Echoes of the Past, on your most listened to radio frequency, iPower 102.7 FM, Emurele Owo. Echo of the Past is the program that takes you beyond the headlines, beyond dates on calendars, and to every heartbeat of history itself.
We start to blame the government. We know everything that goes wrong because we are part of the government. Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't die.
Echo of the Past is a program that informs you with detailed analysis of events that are shaping or is reshaping the Nigerian system, which is now informing our coexistence as a country united in diversity. The program, Echo of the Past, also relates to trending issues in the Nigerian system and its effect on the Gen Zs in particular. The program is having a feedback segment where listeners are expected to call in to hear the views and opinions and contributions to any topical issue discussed, from politics, economy, religion, security, and entertainment. It is on this note that I welcome you on board the program. My name is Akin Adebayo, also known as the Echo Man. If you want to go on a short break, please don't change the dial.
Which way to go? I love my fatherland. Oh yeah. I want to know which way Nigeria is heading to. Inefficiency and indiscipline is ruining the country now. Corruption here, there, and everywhere. Inflation is soaring high.
Welcome back. It's still your program, Echo of the Past. Today, we shall be looking into the post-pre-colonial way of life of the various ethnic groups that make up the Nigerian system, the Yoruba, Igbos, and Hausas, on security, on economy, and most importantly, on our various beliefs. Now, Nigeria stands as one of the world's most religious, vibrant nations, where faith permeates every facet of life, from personal identity and family rights to governance, economy, and security. The three major religion traditions, that is African traditional religion, Islam, and Christianity, have shaped the country's chronology from pre-colonial kingdoms through colonial engagements, through colonial amalgamation to post-independence realities. Far from static, these faiths have intertwined, clashed, and synchronized, reflecting both Nigerian profound cultural depth and its persistent fault lines as echoes of the past chronicles Nigerian history across ethnic groups, systems of governance, economics, and security. Religion emerged not as a sad bear, but as a resonant thread binding pre-colonial resilience to contemporary challenges.
Why many have nothing? Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria will fall.
Before the 19th century, African traditional religion formed the spiritual bedrock across Nigerian diverse ethnic landscape. These were not monolithic, but adaptive systems rooted in animism, ancestors' veneration, divination, and harmony with cosmic force. Among the Yoruba, Yorisha pantheon and Ifa oracle underpin divine kingship in city-states like Ife and Oyo, legitimizing governance and guiding economic activities such as agriculture and trade. Igbo socialites practice decentralized acephalous system where she, that is personal spirit, and ancestors cult reinforced village assemblies, age grades, and moral orders. In the north, Hausa and other groups blended spirit possession, for instance the Boricot, with emerging Islamic influence, while Niger Delta community honored water deities tied to fishing and commerce. African traditional religion was inherently pragmatic. It supports security through spiritual sanction and kinship oath, sustained economies via fertility rituals and market protection, and fosters economic cohesion without rigid dogma. It was a living worldview, not a pagan relic. Islam entered peacefully via trans-Sahara trade as early as the 11th century, taking root first in Kanem-Bornu under rulers like Mai Dunama, the Balimi. By the 14th to 16th century, it influenced Hausa cities, states for instance like Kano and Katsina, introducing Arabic literacy, Sharia element, and centralized monarchical governance that bolstered trade in slave, salt, and textile. The 1804 to 1808 jihad, Fulani jihad, led by Usman Dan Fodio, was transformative. It reformed practices, established the vast Sokoto Caliphate, and spread Islam across the north, aligning faith with Hausa Fulani identity while integrating economic networks and jihad-based security.
Some people now have everything, while many have nothing. Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't fall. Which way Nigeria?
Christianity remain marginal limited to fleeting 15th to 16th century Portuguese and coastal contact. Pre-colonial Nigeria does showcase religion pluralism grounded in all African traditional religion, with Islam providing a unifying theocratic layer in the north, demonstrating sophisticated indigenous governance long before colonial narratives of darkness. I want to go to a short break. To be back in a moment. Please don't change the dial.
Some people now have everything, while many, many have nothing. Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't fall. Which way Nigeria? Which way Nigeria?
It's your program Echo of the Past. We are transmitting from your darling station, iPower 102.7 FM. To join us, you can join us through our social media handle, Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok on iPower 1027, iPower 1027, or from the studio line. For the join us from the studio line to hearing your view, your opinions, and ideas on probably what to add or what to take it from the program. You can phone in through 081 6552 4699. I tell that again, 081 6552 4699.
Way to go. I love my fatherland. Oh, sure. I want to know. Yes, I want to know.
Now we shall be looking into colonial transformation, Christianity in the Southern Ascensory and the North-South Rift. British colonialism, that is Lagos 1816, full amalgamation in 1914, reshaped the religious map through missionary zeal and Frederick Lord Lugard's indirect rule. In the Muslim North, Britain largely preserved Sokoto Emirate and Sharia for personal law to ensure stability and low administrative costs, restricting Christian missions to avoid unrest. This shielded Islam, allowing it to retain governance influence while limiting Western education reach. In the South and Southeast, Christianity surged from 1840s via Protestant, that is Church Missionary Society, and Catholic missions. Missionaries built schools, hospitals, and churches, framing conversion as progress against paganism and slavery. They tied faith to cash crop economies, that is palm oil and cocoa, and literacy, producing an educated elite. Yorubas and Igbo's conversation accelerated. Many African traditional religion elements synchronized into the African Independence Church. For instance, the Aladura movement, blending healing rituals with prayer. Missionary education was pivotal. It supplied the language and organizational skills that fueled nationalism, with figures like Nnamdi Azikiwe emerging from this milieu. African traditional religion faced public marginalization, dismissed as superstition, yet persisted privately, infusing both incoming faith, colonial divide, and rule, deepens the religious ethnic divide, Islamic North versus Christian South, with implication for army recruitment, jobs, and future politics. Economics shifted towards export. Security relied on ethnic regiment that showed mistrust.
To be millionaires is running the country down. We all want to be millionaires until revolution is a reality. Let's give it a chance to grow. Let's join our hands to farm the land so we can have enough food to show.
Now, like I said, this is a program that goes beyond the dailies and maybe dates on the calendar. We try to look very deep into what led to what in the Nigerian system. And that is why now we're going into the post-independence realities, politicization, secularism, and persistent tension. Since 1960, Nigerian secular constitution have coexisted uneasily with religious mobilization. The First Republic saw regional parties with faith undertone, military eras, and the 1967 to 1970 Biafra War, highlighting ethnic religious dimension. The 1970 oil boom and urbanization propelled Pentecostal and charismatic Christianity, emphasizing prosperity, education, and social services, dominant in South, Middle Belt, and cities, many Christians quietly retain African traditional religion practices, deliverance from ancestral causes and festivals. Islam consolidated in the north. The 1999 to 2000 adoption of expanded Sharia in 12 northern states ignited debate over federalism and minority rights. Boko Haram insurgents from 2009 and splinter group have inflicted immense suffering, seeking a caliphate while rejecting Western influences. Farmer elders clashes often frame religion, Fulani, that is Fulani Muslim elders versus predominantly Christian farmers. Excavated resources conflict in the Middle Belt, though analysts stress their complex ethnic, climate, and economic root beyond pure faith. Current demographic reflects near parity with a slight Muslim edge, eliminates places Muslim by approximately 40 to 50%, Christian at 43 to 48%, and explicit African traditional religion or ethnic religion at 2 to 7%. Now we can now see now that the very minute Christianity and Islam was introduced into the Nigerian system, it affected our African traditional religion, either from the north, from the west here, that is the Yoruba ethnic group, or from the southeast, that is the Igbo ethnic group. Now Christianity took a very dominant part in southeastern part of the country, while in the north, Islam took a very dominant part. But in the north, in the southwest here, that is the Yoruba ethnic group, it seems both Christianity and Islam we are able to intertwine. Like I've always said on sister program, and it's only in Yoruba land that we find in one family a pastor, an alpha, an Islamic cleric, and equally a traditional priest, as maybe Babalawo the case may be. And you see all of them coming together in December to celebrate Christmas with their father. It is only in Yoruba that you can see such things. Should we now say that the Yorubas seem to be more tolerant when it comes to religion? Is it what actually informed the Yorubas' accommodating nature? Because with that mindset word, it appears that the Yoruba ethnic group seems to be the major ethnic group that can accommodate virtually all ethnic groups. Take for instance, apart from northern Nigeria, where you find out Fulanis, the other place you're going to find them again is southwestern Nigeria, not in the southeast or south-south. Now, apart from the southeast, where you find the Igbos, where you're going to find them again is southwest Nigeria, not in north central or northeast or northwest. Now, and Yorubas, they are more dominant. In fact, you cannot even say that apart from southwest, because to a large extent, there is no much Yoruba in northern Nigeria. Neither can you find much Yoruba in southeastern Nigeria. The Yorubas actually dominated their own their own region because of their tolerance nature and accommodating nature. But the question now is this: to what extent has this accommodating nature affected or benefited the Yorubas? These are some of the issues we could be looking into, because of course it is expected that no matter how much you try to accommodate persons, very minute you don't put in place some rules and regulations, it's possible for it to be messed up. But that's another topic for another day. But of course, this Echo of the Past is a program that is deliberate, that is intentional about making us to understand what led to what. Like I've always said, you can't place something on nothing. One thing led to one thing, and one thing now brought about something. The question now is this: to what extent are these various events reshaping the Nigerian system, or to what extent has it been able to stabilize the Nigerian system, or to what extent has what has happened in the past been able to actually bring about the issue of diversity or the unity in diversity? And the question again is this: is there really unity in diversity in the Nigerian system, or probably we are just trying to patch things? Looking at the map of Nigeria, you see that geographically, by virtue of nature, it's like God has deliberately divided us via River Niger and River Benue. But we all now say that we want to come together. Now, either Lord Lugard married the Nigerian system together in Northern and Southern Protectorate together is immaterial. But the question now is this: is this marriage still comfortable, or the marriage has become a marriage of inconvenience? These are some of the key topics. These are some of the key issues. These are some of the key histories that this program, Echo of the Past, is going to look into. Please be back in a moment. Don't change the dial.
To be millionaires is running the country.
To join us again on the program Echo of the Past, you have to join us through from this dialing station, iPower 102.7 FM, through the studio line 0816552469, or through our social media handle, that is Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, on iPower 1027. I call it again, iPower 1027. The Nigerian religious journey reveals profound continuity. African traditional religion, adaptive spirit endures beneath formal affiliation. Pre-colonial Islamic scholarships and governance model echoes a northern structure. Missionary-driven education still shapes elite formation and civic consciousness. Yet, ruptures, colonial divides, post-independence politicization, and modern insurgents underscores how faith, when instrumentalized along ethnic line, can fracture national cohesion. I say that again. Insurgents, yet ruptured, colonial divide, post-independence politicization, and modern insurgencies underscores how faith, when instrumentalized along ethnic lines, can fracture national cohesion. Like I said the other time, this is a program that wants to look very deep into what led to what. In law, they will tell you you can't place something on nothing. You must definitely place something on something. How do we find ourselves in the present place we find ourselves now? And this is it. This religious belief and politicization has to a large extent an ethnic sentiment has to a large extent fractured the Nigerian system. Thereby, it can national cohesion and undermine economic potential and strain security. For Echo of the Past, this history demands on now storytelling. Episode contrasting pre-colonial spiritual governance with today's federal tension. Survivor testimonies balanced with interfaith initiative. That is, we are trying to equally bring to front burner some testimonies of some persons, either scholars or people that are falling victim of one, should I say, ethnic tension or religious tension, as the case may be. For instance, the show of Boko Haram. Boko Haram in the northern part of Nigeria is that should jettison Western education. And the question now is this: if you are saying people should jettison Western education, the ammunitions you are using, the AK-47 and 49, the case may be that or the RPG, rapid propelling gun that are using in northern Nigeria, is it not Western education that produced it? Why should we not allow religion to take unnecessary dominance over our own human reasoning? And of course, how has ethnic tension been able to unite or divide the country? Has it really united the country, or that bring about undue tension amongst us? And of course, the popular saying in some part of, particularly in Lagos, that it belongs to no man, a state that is located in southwestern Nigeria. The question is this: is Lagos now northern Nigeria, or is Lagos state now southeastern or southern Nigeria, or is Lagos in Europe, or is Lagos in West Africa? I mean, these are issues begging for answers. Now, true nation building requires upholding constitutional secularity while harnessing religion positive potential, ethnical leadership, social services, and peace building. Leaders across faith must prioritize shared Nigerian identity over divisive mobilization. Citizens, meanwhile, can draw on ancestral adaptability to forge inclusive governance, equitable economies, and collective security. Nigeria has survived empires, colonialism, civil war, and insurgency. Its religious tapestry, woven from indigenous roots, Islamic scholarship, and Christian dynamism, all the thread for a more united future. Of course, since it appears now that African traditional religion has been jettisoned, or should I say has been boxed to the corner, I think the most dominant religion now in Nigeria is is Christianity and Islam. And unfortunately, these two religions are imported religion. Of course, this point might really get some people angry, but it's the fact. It is the fact. Before introduction of Christianity and Islam, there is a way we speak to God. God had made Jesus Christ to be his point of contact in European countries and American countries. Make Buddhism, Buddhism and maybe Hinduism to take dominance in some Asian countries, and now gave we Africans traditional ability to communicate with him. Doesn't he know what he's doing? But since we decided to jettison our own African traditional religion and we've adopted Christianity and Islam, the question is to what extent has it taken us to? Has it united us or has it divided us? Now, the editorial in view reflection for echoes of the past production and listener alike. Now, woven from indigenous roots, Islamic scholarship and Christian dynamism, all the thread for a more united future. The echo of the past called not for erasure of dominance, but for honest dialogue and mutual respect. In a country as diverse and dynamic as ours, that is Nigeria, faith can illuminate the path forward if wedded with wisdom rather than as weapon. Now we all know that in the Nigerian system, our politicians in particular, they've weaponized religion. They've weaponized religion, the thing that seems to be important, they've weaponized it. Before the tradition of religiosity in Nigerian system, they always believe alive. Natural religion, ethnic sentiments are equally being weaponized. And of course, these politicians, they are so much intelligent now that equally weaponize poverty, but they leverage on something. Take for instance, during Dr. Goodluck Jonathan era, he built so many schools for the Almajiris. But you know that their elite down there never allowed those schools to stand the test, never allowed those schools to thrive. And now it has become a monumental problem to the entire country. The issue of insecurity started from northern Nigeria and has now trickled down to southern Nigeria, and we are battling and grappling with it. To what extent can our leaders leverage on religion and to bring about unity in diversity as postulated in the Nigerian slogan? It is on this note that I want to call the program. I will not draw the curtain to the end of the program today. My thank goes to the general manager of this great station, in person of Engineer Paul Olotu, my head of news, person of Alaba Adeyemi, and head of program, Lurotimi Emmanuel Elijah. And of course, to every person that has made this program a huge success, right here in the studio, from studio manager to the assistant manager, and every other person that has assisted this program to be a success. I want to say a very big thank you to you all. And of course, to you, our listeners, like I've always said, if you are not there, we can't be here. We are here because you are there. I want to say a very big thank you to you. To meet you again next week on a more interesting topic on Echo of the Past, I remain your humble host, Akin Adebayo, also known as the Echo Man. Bye-bye and God bless.